Hello, 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 and welcome, Radiant Souls, to the Celestial Medium Podcast. Today, we explore one of the most sought after yet misunderstood treasures on the spiritual path: joy and happiness. Happiness is generally understood as a positive emotional state, a sense of pleasure, satisfaction, or contentment that arises in response to external conditions. Joy is often confused with happiness, but in truth, joy is much deeper, more spiritual, and more enduring. It is not dependent on external circumstances. It is not a fleeting reaction to pleasure or success. Rather, joy is a state of being, an inner radiance that arises when we are aligned with our true nature, connected to love and present in the moment. Joy is the song of the soul when it is free, present, and in love with life. It is not given. It is uncovered. It is not earned. It is chosen. And it is not fleeting. It is eternal. So, let's begin with a sacred truth. The world we see, this material realm, is not the source of our joy, only fleeting happiness. In Gnostic cosmology, the material world is a false reality, crafted to keep us asleep, trapped in the illusion that joy comes from outside. We chase success, validation, and even spiritual status, hoping these things will fulfill us. But as the mystics have always known, true happiness cannot be given to you, not by another person, not by any achievement, not even by the stars. We, humans, must understand the difference between pleasure and happiness. Material things, trips, events, diamonds, moments, these bring us pleasure. But pleasure is fleeting and temporary. Joy, true joy, is cultivated within. It is the fruit of inner alignment, not the reward of external striving. So where do we look if not to the world? The answer is timeless, within the soul. In esoteric teachings, the soul is the divine compass, our fragment of the eternal light. When we align with the soul, when we listen to its gentle nudges, when we follow its guidance, joy flows naturally. It's not forced. It's not manufactured. It's revealed. This alignment means living from truth. It means listening to the still small voice rather than the noise of this world. And it means having the courage to ask, what lights me up? What makes me feel alive? What is my soul calling me toward? When we align with these truths, joy is no longer a mystery. It becomes a way of being. So here's the paradox. We often suppress the very things that would bring us joy. We deny our passions. We belittle our dreams. We convince ourselves that joy must be earned or that it's selfish to pursue what we love. We follow other people's paths laid out for us in pursuit of such joy and happiness. But the ancient mystics knew differently. In the Vedic tradition, Dharma is your soul's purpose. And when you live in your Dharma, you experience ananda, divine bliss. So ask yourself, what activities make time disappear for me? What brings you a sense of lightness and awe? What would you do even if no one applauded? Once you answer those questions, you must lean into those things. They are not distractions. They are your map home. Following your joy is not irresponsible. It is sacred. At the core of all joy is love. Not romantic love, but universal, unconditional, divine love. This is the realm of the heart chakra, or anahata in Sanskrit. It's the bridge between earthly and the divine. When the heart chakra is open, untangled, and balanced, we experience life through compassion, forgiveness, and beauty. And through this sacred center, joy becomes our natural state. So to live in joy is to live in love. And love is not something we wait to receive from someone else. It is something we become. As the Sufi poet Hafiz wrote, I am a hole in a flute that the Christ's breath moves through. Listen to this music. This music, that music is love. It is the resonance of joy. But we can't speak of joy without speaking of presence. Too often we're haunted by the past and paralyzed by the future. But joy lives in neither. It lives only in this moment right here. As Eckhart Tolle and ancient Zen masters teach, the now is all there is. And in this now, you have a choice to resist life or to embrace it. Choosing joy is an act of power. It's a declaration. I will no longer postpone my happiness. I will no longer wait for the perfect moment. I choose joy right here, right now. And when we choose it repeatedly, even in small ways, it begins to shape our reality. Too much is lost from us living in the past, focused on the fears of the future. We must learn to embrace the moment, which is now. For now is all that really exists. Everything else is a dream. Now, there's another subtle yet powerful thief of joy: expectation. So often our suffering doesn't come from what is. It comes from what we thought should be. We expect people to behave in a certain way. We expect circumstances to unfold according to our timeline. And when life doesn't meet our mental script, we suffer. But here's a spiritual key. Expectation is the enemy of peace. In Buddhism, suffering is said to arise from attachment, and expectations are a form of attachment. We attach to outcomes, we expect praise, success, reciprocity, certainty. But the mystics teach us to do without attachment to the fruit. I say that one more time. Do without attachment to the fruit. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, you have a right to your actions, but not to the fruits of your actions. We are taught to seek the fruits of our labor. But if we were taught to just labor, period, and not seek the fruit, when the fruit falls from the tree, we are truly rewarded, not by expectation, but by the gift of the fruit. This is the path of surrender, the path of presence, the path of joy. When we act from the soul without expectation, simply because it's right, beautiful, or true, joy becomes effortless. We are no longer bargaining with life. We are dancing with it. The Buddha once said, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts and made up of our thoughts. If a man speaks or acts with an evil thought, suffering follows him. If a man speaks or acts with a good thought, happiness follows him like a shadow that never leaves him. This is more than ancient poetry, my friends. It is metaphysical and spiritual law. In both Buddhist and Hermetic traditions, the mind is the builder of reality. Thought's not passive, it's creative. The quality of our inner dialogue becomes the architecture of our outer life. So, when our thoughts are fearful, judgmental, or self-defeating, we magnetize experiences of suffering. But when we think with love, compassion, and presence, happiness follows us like a faithful shadow. This is the alchemy of consciousness. Change your mind and you change your world. In many of my videos, I have talked about you taking the reins and being the co-creator of your universe. This is the time, people. co-create. So often we suffer not because life is hard, but because it doesn't match our script. But what if the real script is being written by your soul and not by your personality? What if the real script was written before you got here, before your personality decided to take hold, before your ego decided to rule? If it's true that your soul wrote the script before you got here, shouldn't we be following the soul script instead of trying to create our own? What if joy blooms not when things go right, but when we let go of how we think things should go? The path to joy is not found through control, but through surrender, through presence, through alignment, and through loving without expecting, doing without needing, being without condition. This is the essence of true happiness, my friends. This is the heart of joy. Thank you so much for joining me today. And until next time, walk in love and light and pursue happiness. Align with your soul, and happiness and joy shall follow like a shadow. Thank you for listening. Namaste.